Welcome, everybody, to Den Excelsior. This is episode 182. I'm your host, Ricky. With me, as always, is Dennis.
He's back.
I'm
Ricky's
back.
back.
I
Yes.
I missed a handful of episodes, but you have not missed a single. You're on every single episode that we've done.
I've never missed an episode of the show. I was talking with Frank
Well,
about that. Yeah.
When you need to cancel, we just cancel the show.
I guess so. I guess that's what we do. Yes.
um,
I was very happy that Frank was totally down to do it, even though you canceled on us. Like I didn't my intent was never to put him on the spot like that. Like I thought me and Frank would just have a fun time together, and then
he wanted the spotlight.
No, but he had fun. We made the agreement last week. It was like, hey, let's do the bare minimum amount we need to talk about Thor: The Dark World to qualify.
You got the C's get degrees, as they say. So you passed.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, no, I'm very excited about today's episode because today we're actually going to be talking about probably one of my favorite MCU movies ever.
We're now in the the enlightened era?
Yeah.
Is it gold? Would you say golden age?
Oh man,
of the MCU? Don't know.
I think
we're at a peak.
I think I think Avengers on is all at a higher level with the exception of Thor: The Dark World, but from Avengers to Guardians, man, that was quite a ride, dude. That was an intense ride. And in fairness, Avengers: Age of Ultron is a fun ride too. It's just not hitting the same highs that some of those other movies did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I think that's we saw the plateau kind of happened. You start seeing.
Here's the thing I'll say about every movie post Avengers, like every movie in phase 2, and then every movie in phase 2, whether good or not, every movie in phase 2 does a great job of showing you the direction that it's going in. That the story's going in.
The overall story advances.
Right,
in a very clear way.
At the end of every movie, there's a finger pointing at, hey, look over there. Yeah. That's where we're going.
Yeah, we're going that way.
So we don't have to like Thor: The Dark World, but at the end of it, the collector gets, an Infinity Stone, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what's happening now. Like
Benicio del Toro.
I know Benicio del Toro, right? Like at the end of Iron Man 3,
and you don't see him for like a year. You don't see him for like a year.
Later. I know. But at the end of Iron Man 3, we're like, okay, this is interesting. He's finally got the thing out of his chest. Like he's determined to figure out like what he can do to protect this world. And everything just kind of keeps moving forward. And we'll get into that conversation more about Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but this one obviously does the biggest neon signs of where things are going afterwards. So it's really cool. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Like what about you? What's been going on with you? What are you nerding out on? It's exciting going on? You want to share?
I mean, talk about it. I graduated. I did the thing. That was a fun life moment for me. That's why I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Graduations take way too long.
Yeah.
Like it's either it's too easy to graduate or too many kids in one ceremony. Make it harder.
Yeah, they it's not my thing. I don't really love the whole ceremony of it. I did the ceremony a long time ago. I hated the whole thing. But it's not for you, I guess, kind of, unless you want to make it for you, but it's hard. Like, so, when you said you didn't have tickets for me to go, I was
like, oh no,
I was absolutely fine with it. You know what I mean? But like, but I was really tired. I did my workshop thing that day too, and so but I'm very happy for you. So good job.
It's all that matters.
Yes. What else you got?
I didn't realize that the studio had more episodes, but the studio had 2 more episodes for me. I thought it ended. the final 2 episodes of that movie take place at CinemaCon, and they actually call it cinema. Like they reference
Yeah.
we're all familiar with CinemaCon in Vegas,
Mhm.
and the Comic Con for movie theater owners to go and kind
Yeah.
of plot the year. But man, that show just hits so many highs. Have you seen the movie Flight with Denzel?
No.
Oh my god. There's a reference to that movie that's like amazing where they say we're gonna flight his ass. And if you've seen that movie and know what
Oh,
happened,
wait. Is that the one where he's like waking up with like hookers and like,
yes.
okay.
And at the
I
end of
have
the
seen
movie,
that
they
movie.
have to get him ready, and they're like, and they just give him a bunch of drugs to get him ready.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's like the punch. I mean, spoiler for the punchline, but like, oh, we got to flight his ass and then find all the drugs to get this person coherent.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop laughing.
That's cool.
I think we just caught up on Hacks too. That show's almost ending. That show took a turn and kind of got a turn for the better, or a good turn. But
I'm taking them one at a time. So like I'm trying to finish Righteous Gemstones. I have one episode left. Like there's a lot of shows that kind of crept up and ended on me really at the same time, and so I will do Hacks after I finish Gemstones. Yeah.
I mean, I need to do I need to do Andor. Still got to do Last of Us. But Last of Us can wait. They're milking that shit for 4 seasons. So
4?
They're already committed to 3, but they've already signaling that hey, we're probably going to want to do 4.
They're doing 4? That's too many. I really loved last week's episode though, like or this week's episode. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen any of this.
It's a beautiful episode. Like it was really well done. That's crazy. Have you watched The Rehearsal? Have you ever watched that show?
We watched the first episode of it.
The first season?
Oh, sorry, the first episode of season 2, the plain one.
It's crazy. This whole second season, he's potentially working on something that could end up being reform to help avoid plane crashes. Like
that's getting like super sued for that right now.
Oh, I know, because of the fake.
I think
the fake singing contest.
I've seen some of his stuff, and I've seen a lot of some Nathan Fielder's past. I can't remember this previous show.
Nathan For You and The Curse.
And I think his comedy, if you don't know it's comedy, it can be like, what the fuck are you watching? And that was kind of the experience I felt like I had with Selena.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's quite absurdist. It's absurdist humor for sure.
But I think when it hits, it really does hit.
It's hitting pretty good this season. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. Are you playing any games?
I have not played any games in the past 2 weeks. Well, Fortnite's back on the phone. That's a win.
Was it not on the phone?
You missed out. Fortnite was like off the App Store. It was off the Apple App Store.
Okay, the Apple one. Yeah, because I just deleted it off my phone
for like 2 days. There is a very long and
yes, I understand.
Potentially industry shifting lawsuit going on between Epic and Apple right now.
I have an Android phone, so it was always on my phone, so it's not a problem. But cool, I guess. Congrats. Have you been playing the at all, like the Fortnite? I
played some of the Star Wars season.
Are you familiar with the AI Vader?
I am.
It is amazing. Lindsay and I captured him today. After somebody else beat him, we snaked it, and we went around for as long as we could. They were so angry at us for jacking their Darth Vader that they were just attacking Darth Vader to try and kill him to spoil our fun. But we got far enough away that he teleported over to us. But they kept following us. They just really wanted to kill our Vader. It was sad. But they did not succeed in time before we asked him things like, Lord Vader, why is your helmet the shape of a penis? And that was fun. It was a fun answer.
James Earl Jones died for that.
I know. Well, he didn't die for that, but he sold a lot of things for
his family made a lot of money.
He made a lot of money for his family for that. Yeah. But yeah, that is a crazy thing. I hear there's a lawsuit for that too.
It breaks some like SAG rules
I
that.
think SAG-AFTRA is suing because they feel it's stealing jobs from actors and stuff like
Well,
that.
it ties specifically with like there are Vader actors
Yeah.
specifically for video games that it's stealing from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um,
No, it's true. Like in general, like Disney has always had a really storied like relationship with maintaining brand consistency for its voice acting talent. And so
mhm.
they have an actual department at Walt Disney Studios that focuses on sound alikes.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole like career progression you can do as a voice actor. You can understudy the current Mickey Mouse or Goofy or Donald or whatever you want. And one day when they retire or pass on, you will be that person and you will do it because you sound just like them. And yeah, for sure I've heard other actors play Vader pretty well on cartoons and stuff. And so it's crazy now because with this deal that they made with James Earl Jones before he passed, they never have to do that.
Mhm.
If you spent your life studying to be a Darth Vader impersonator, sorry, there's no job for you now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the robot legit took your jobs. Like that's
And it's interesting because it's like it's not icky on how he obviously got paid. It was agreed on, right? And he got compensated for lending in perpetuity those rights.
yeah, he did it without any concern for the actors that would follow him, for sure.
And it's like can you fault? Is it his like? It's
Well,
weird.
it's I mean, it's always the devil who offers the deal, and it's always up to the person to decide to take the deal. You know what I mean? So you can, it's, you, the audience, can weigh in on what you think, like who's
I
at
mean,
fault
it's like
for
the
that.
Beatles are kind of going. They're re-releasing. They just released a Beatles song that they finished with AI, and it's like
That's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Speaking of games, though, like unless you got other stuff you want to talk about nerding out on, we just picked up Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Have you heard of that one?
Said a bunch of words.
I know it's a long title. Just call it Expedition 33. It's easier. That is a fantastic game. I don't recommend it for everyone, but I was very moved by the intro of that game. It deals with mortality in a really cool way. It's a turn-based game where it feels like it's in the spirit of the old school Final Fantasy games. Like not old. I mean like 7, 8, 9, 10 kind of thing. Like where it's that kind of combat. But it's not a Japanese game. So it has Western sensibility to it. Do you know what I mean? Again, I can't recommend it for everybody, but if you like turn-based games, this game is freaking awesome. It also pulls in stuff from like the Souls games, like the Demon Souls and all those. So like you time dodging and stuff like that, but
you're just describing like my least favorite game. Right
oh yeah, I was pretty sure you wouldn't like this game, but the story is really cool in that like it's this weird world where like they have to make these sacrifices like every year to this weird goddess type thing, and they want to figure out how to stop it. They want to go out, they send out an expedition every year to go out and try and figure out if they can defeat this thing. But like, yeah, the whole beginning of this game is your character is escorting his ex-girlfriend to the pier where she's going to die, and it's pretty wild. But the coolest part is the voice of the main character. It's Charlie Cox.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and
Glad he's getting work.
I always love his voice in general, but like it's so cool that just have my Daredevil be there, making the little grunts or making, like all the generic like video game noises you got to make in addition to delivering some really cool dialogue and stuff. And he does it with his British accent, but it's not very heavy. But it's cool. It's very cool. I can't recommend that game for you, Ricky, but if there's people listening that are interested in a really beautiful tale that's done in a turn-based style. I think the thing I like about turn-based games is like I can play them at my pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Like it won't go until I'm ready to go, So that's my thing.
Are you partaking in any Memorial Day weekend movie watching?
What
Specifically, movies? Are you team Mission Impossible, whatever, or Lilo and Stitch?
Oh, Lilo and Stitch comes out this weekend?
That movie is supposed to make a lot of money. It's supposed to make more than Mission Impossible.
If I was going to see either movie, it would be Lilo and Stitch 100%. I have not seen a Mission Impossible in theaters since 2. And I'm fine with that. Like they don't do it for me. And Tom Cruise, if you're listening, your movies don't do it for me. I don't care about your stunts. Like I think they're cute, but I prefer a story that actually makes sense. That's why I like the first movie so much, that movie had a good story. Every movie after that had really interesting stunts, I guess.
I could not tell you the story of any Mission Impossible.
Exactly. See, I could tell you the story of the first one.
I couldn't even tell you the name of the characters besides Ethan Hunt.
Besides Ethan Hunt, right? Because that's the problem, is the movies became not Mission Impossible. They became Ethan Hunt. Like the first movie is a movie about a team, you know what I mean? Like, and it just became not that. By the way, Luther is Ving Rhames' character.
I would have got there.
I don't know his last name. I don't think we ever got a last name, but you know what I mean? But I think Luther is the only one that's lasted since the first movie besides Ethan.
Yeah.
Right?
Luther's, I think he might have sat out the one with Jeremy Renner.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. I could be wrong.
But yeah, I'm not super keen on Disney remakes, but yeah, maybe I could be convinced. I'm actually more interested in watching Friendship, the Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd movie.
That comes out this weekend?
I don't know. I think it's coming out soon. Like
I'm like notoriously on the record for hating Stitch, but in the specific context where I hate Minions.
Okay.
I don't like the first Despicable Me. Minions are fine. Minions are cool, but like the Minionification of like Universal Studios or the Stitchification of like Disney. I'm a purist.
I don't feel like there's a massive Stitchification.
His stock kind of went down after Frozen. He took a backseat.
Yeah.
In the Disney pantheon, but for a moment there was a lot of Stitch invasion, Stitch creep.
My collection grows.
It's a Black Adam.
It's a Black Adam. I got him today. I got him. Actually traded in a bunch of old crap at TC's Rockets, and I got a bunch of store credit. And I was like, "Give me that thing in the glass." And so I took it home. I'm just showing because like last week I got a Harley Quinn at Ninja Exchange, and I showed that to Frank. And then I'm not buying all of these right now, but I did get one figure on pre-order because I really,
Black Cat.
Really, it is the Black Cat. What's up?
Does she come with the Wanda Watum?
She does.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That's interesting that you would know that. Like, did you play the game?
Yeah, I played the game.
Okay. She does come with the Wanda Watum. And I think she's got some really good posability. Better than most female figures I've seen. She's really cool. So there you go. I just had to throw those in there since we do talk about toys sometimes on the show.
Well,
maybe just a little bit.
Let's keep the ball rolling on some toy talk because I have a toy in the news.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, that Black Cat has face printer technology. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you guys talked about it last week, but Marvel Legends announced a figure. They're doing a Shauna, the She-Devil figure, coming out later this year.
I did talk about it last week.
Okay. Well, let me axe that news. You talked about Kristen Ritter.
I did not.
She's officially coming back for
Yeah.
Daredevil season 2.
Yes.
There was some Spider-Man news that came out this week. Some like Singapore Marvel Disney event. It's hard because the translation is not the best, but the consensus is that Scorpion is coming back in some capacity in that fourth movie.
Okay.
So we get Scorpion.
So it's going to be a different origin than the one we saw in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Well, Scorpion's in Homecoming.
Right, but I'm saying he's going to have a different origin.
Oh yeah. He's inherently the shittier Scorpion in media right now.
So he's going to end up being a Scorpion in a different universe, but through different means, because most likely there will not be a Dr. Octopus giving him the suit.
Or will there?
Okay, well then
probably won't be.
So he's destined to be a Scorpion in all his universes.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man's destined to be Spider-Man. The big news that came out today was the Avengers Doomsday and Secret War are both getting pushed back to December of their respective years.
So December next year?
Yes, so December next year for Doomsday and December the following year for Secret Wars.
For special effects, so they don't get complained about like by all the studios, like saying
that's actually what they cite. The Russo cite they're very technical movies, right? So they need all the time they can get. But that's for the better. Like Disney will be fine. They have a Spider-Man movie coming out in July as well, as we talked about on the show.
Sony gets the money for that though.
Yeah, they also have a Mandalorian movie coming out, I think in May. So
yeah, that's true. Hopefully that does well for them. But yeah, no, I have no doubt that an Avengers movie released during Christmas time will make all the money. All the money. Even if it's all the Avengers that people don't like, it will still make all the money because there's going to be Avengers that people do like also.
There's also kind of like a rolling rumor right now that Secret Wars is actually going to be 2 movies. That's still kind of up in the air. I feel like that's going to be like a Comic-Con announcement. I'd be fine with that.
I don't need that. Like, it was cute when Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were 2 movies. Like, I get that. But I already assumed that Doomsday and Secret Wars were a part 1 and part 2. You know what I mean? So I don't want a part 3 to that. That's just like, come on, guys. Now you're just milking.
They got to fit all these actors in this movie.
Kill the actors. Kill the characters. Start killing them.
Kill the actors.
Not the actors. Don't kill the actors. I didn't mean that.
We are like, damn, Comic-Con's close. That crept up on us.
It's getting close. I'm very excited. About that. I probably will not go to Hall H unless it's to see Fantastic Four. If you are lucky enough to get tickets again this year. But other than that, you let me know how fun Hall H is on Saturday.
You'll hear it here first, everybody.
Not really. You won't hear it here first for sure.
Last little bit of news is Ultron's coming to Marvel Rivals. He's coming in a few days. He's kind of a support character, which is interesting. So a week from now, the May 30th.
You know, that is the weirdest game that I don't delete off my computer, but I also hate. I try to play it every now and then, and every time I do, I'm really bored. I'm just bored by the gameplay. I'm bored by how slow all the characters move. And I just don't care about team deathmatch kind of experiences.
I mean, Overwatch is a better game. Like, I feel like that's a hot take.
I get bored by both equally. They both bore me to death. And so I heard a rumor a long time ago that like they were gonna release a single player mode for Rivals, and please get on that.
There, as part of the Ultron update, there's an auto chess type game. You can, I don't think it's single player, but it's a different type of game within the game.
Like chess? Like you play chess?
Kinda. It's like strategy dojo. Just want to say like third person Dota. Auto chess is like a game type.
Okay.
How would you describe it? It's like Dota adjacent.
Okay, all right. I'll look into that. I'll look into
Marvel rival assets.
But yeah, I booted it up a week or two ago to try out Emma Frost, and I'm like, oh my god, this is
kind of pervy. Not gonna lie,
she's quite pervy, but it's she's for the Gooners. It's everybody they make is for the Gooners nowadays.
Den Excelsior, the show is for the Gooners.
I didn't say the show is for the Gooners. I said Emma Frost and Marvel Rivals is for the Gooners. But
last bit of news, I just saw it when I searched for Marvel news 10 minutes ago. Kid Cudi testifies about a car fire at his residence, presumably set by Diddy, calling Diddy a Marvel villain, a Marvel supervillain. that is quoted on court record.
Okay.
So Marvel supervillain P. Diddy is probably going to jail for a long time.
Did you hear the Steve Harvey stuff too?
No.
Oh, well, I'm not going to repeat that here because that's everybody go look it up. I'm not.
I will. I had a Diddy moment this weekend, but we were at a Padres game.
Ooh.
And a P. Diddy song came on at the Padres game. So that's a stadium-wide sound system. A lot of people were jamming to that song. Put everyone in a weird spot.
A lot of people jammed to Michael Jackson songs too. Just saying.
But I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about a movie?
I do want to talk about a movie.
All right, cool. Let's go.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier, came out in 2014, directed by the Russos, speaking of them, starring Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel Jackson, Sebastian Stan. Who am I missing?
Sam Jackson.
I said Sam Jackson.
Oh, sorry.
Colby Smulders.
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. that unknown actor.
Frank Grillo.
I mean, we could start there. I mean, when this movie came out,
Danny Pudi.
When this movie came out, and I remember that Comic-Con. Wait, was Robert Redford at that Comic-Con? I feel like he was. No,
I don't think he was. I'm pretty sure he was.
When they got Robert Redford, I just remember thinking to myself, "Oh, they're serious.
I mean, you do know that Robert Redford created the Sundance Film Festival, right?
I did not know that.
You did not know that? Yeah,
no.
That's how iconic of a film personality Robert Redford is. Well, he is so intertwined with film that, like, to get him, that was a big get.
It signaled to me that they're paying serious money to get actors, which is fine. It's a pay-to-play industry, or they're pitching compelling stories to get actors of that caliber to play ball with them. And I mean, the results are on the screen. Like, his presence in that movie was just like, it just added this almost ingrained authority, right, to what they were doing in the MCU at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I think it was named after him playing Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Get it? That's for the Sundance Film Festival. But yeah, no, it's because like I think everything before this,
it was Sam Jackson was the biggest star. I mean,
Anthony Hopkins was the biggest star.
No, yeah, Anthony.
But Anthony Hopkins also was starting his roller coaster of like, you want to pay me? I'll take the money. You know what I mean? Like he's done a significant amount of crappy things since becoming
Transformer 4's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. But Anthony Hopkins definitely was the biggest name they'd ever gotten for sure. Sam Jackson probably being the second biggest name. Mm-hmm. But Sam Jackson did a much bigger commitment for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the reason that the Anthony Hopkins one doesn't feel as big is because he's like this supporting character, you know what I mean? Where Robert Redford is like the freaking villain of the movie. You know what I mean? Like he's the villain of this movie. I know it's called The Winter Soldier, but as spoilers, as the movie plays out, he's doing someone else. He's doing Robert Redford's bidding. Like that's what's happening here. But yeah, we could talk forever about how crazy it is that Robert Redford showed up in a Marvel movie. But the honest truth was it was a lot easier than you think, because he did this movie because his grandchildren were big fans of Marvel movies and he wanted them to see him in one. You know what I mean? And so it ended up being 2, right? Because he comes back in Endgame.
Yeah, he's back in Endgame.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. That's awesome that he was down to clown. You know what I mean? Like, because like
it adds legitimacy, right? But I think that moment opens the gate up for like
for everybody, right?
Yeah,
it really did.
Michael Douglas, right? Like that was another moment of like, oh shit,
he normalized it, and Robert Redford normalized it for tons of great cinema stars. You know what I mean? Like Michelle Pfeiffer, right? Like
we forget Angelina Jolie's in a Marvel movie.
Lawrence Fishburne. It's nuts, dude. It's crazy. Like Harry Styles is in a freaking Marvel movie for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, it just, yeah, I would signify like Anthony Hopkins and Robert Redford as being the 2 that really like opened the floodgates for people. But I would say more Robert Redford because the stars come out in numbers after this movie.
Yeah.
Because this movie did gangbusters in theaters, right? Like this was huge. Because let's just be honest, aside from all the little things that we could point out that were so cool, this is just a really good movie. It's a very well done movie. And I always made the argument that like a really good superhero movie could be a really good movie if you change the name of the superhero.
Yeah.
If you just took the Captain America name off of this movie, it's still an amazing movie. You know what I mean? So much so that Steve's not even wearing the suit for like half the movie, actually. Like he's doing a lot of the stunts and stuff in real world civilian outfits. You know what I mean? And it's the movie's better for it because it grounds it.
Well, yeah, you really get a sense of like they're not heroes, they're people, right? They have lives, and that was, I mean, I think people cite that as being one of the big differentiators for Marvel versus DC is, DC, it's about these godly beings for the most part,
right?
And Marvel, it's about people who are superheroes.
Yeah.
And this really cemented like, what is a person at a time? Like how, he's not going to get references. He has a list of things he needs to look up, right? But he
still needs to work out every day, right?
He needs to work out every day. He's also, he's in a covert strike force, right? So like that's his day job. what does that look like? He's doing missions and
Yeah. But he's also got really conflicting feelings about the life of military servitude, right? And like, and is it still right for him, right? So he actually goes to counseling. He goes to check out a counseling session
Mhm.
that Sam's running because he's curious. He wants to know, like, he has feelings that he doesn't know how to articulate or how to work
I
out.
mean, up until this point, he is very much the government man, right?
Right. He's the
In
G
in the
man.
in the MCU story. So like he to
Mhm.
your point, yeah, you see his
His
ideology
conflicts, right?
yeah, start to this is like it's not black and white, right? Nazis are bad. Like
Yeah.
it's a little more nuanced than that now.
Yeah, well, because like he has that moment early in the movie with Nick Fury, where Nick Fury, shows him Project Insight. It's this device that's going to neutralize threats before they happen,
Mhm.
and Captain America fundamentally disagrees with that. Steve does not like that, and Nick Fury says, "Look, I'm reacting to the world as it is, not as what it should be. You need to get on board with that."
Mhm.
And Cap simply says, maybe I don't, like, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? He's not willing to break, he's not willing to compromise there. And I think that is the crux of the entire
I mean, that's like every Captain America story.
it's every Captain America story,
Right?
but it is the defining thing about like going forward for the rest of this movie is he's not willing to waver. And what's interesting is all these other characters see that and they actually start to waver because of him, right?
Mhm.
And so it kind of reminds me of that eulogy that is in Civil War about Peggy and
Mhm.
Sharon gives the eulogy. You find out Sharon's I'm skipping ahead, but you find out Sharon is Peggy's niece, and she gives the story about like when everybody's up against you, like, and wants you to sacrifice your principles, whatever. You stand, you hold still like a tree or whatever. You stand strong like a tree, and let them move around you and stuff. And what I think is interesting about this movie is like Natasha ends up becoming a real person in this movie for the first
Yeah,
time,
it's
right?
the first time.
For the first time, Nick Fury starts to actually consider the possibility that he's not right about everything, right?
Mhm.
Like, and Sam, sorry, I meant Sam Wilson. He's this guy that's just like, I just met my North Pole.
I mean,
You know what I
he
mean? Like he met this man and has
for a moment, Captain America convinces a man, Sam Wilson, to literally become like a terrorist.
kind
Like,
of kind of does, right? Because this guy that was in service to our country, and then eventually he still finds a way to serve the country by running support groups. He is willing to go against his country for the principles that Captain America has put out there. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
I think I think this movie does such a beautiful job. I mean, the Winter Soldier caves, right? Like the
Yeah.
Winter Soldier caves in on his own agenda and is like, this guy's really cool, man. Like, so like literally everybody except the truest bad guys in this movie end up being defeated by Captain America's principles, or not defeated, but changed fundamentally is what I mean to see. The bad guys are just defeated by him, but I think that's a really cool thing to watch in this movie is Steve say, no, this is wrong, and then everybody else just kind of like takes their own time to figure that out. And I think that makes this, like, at the time, the best Black Widow movie. It makes it
Yeah.
the best. It makes it the best, I think, Nick
Well, you gotta
Fury
remember, like
movie.
this was I got it. We're talking like when I was doing like forums about this movie. Like this was like rumored to be a Shield movie, right? For a long time, people were like,
It
oh,
kind of was.
they're
Yeah.
doing a Shield movie for the post Avengers. You're like, I don't know about a Shield movie, but it's almost like they Trojan horse the Shield movie into a Captain America movie, but it came out. I think it came out better on the other side because you have all those dynamics at play. You have these people, these very dedicated government people now suddenly conflicted on what they're doing, and it is right. The best villains are the ones that think they're right. There is a lane where you can see like, oh shit, yeah. I could see where maybe you'd want to stop people before they would commit certain crimes.
Yeah, well, I think that's what makes Pierce so awesome of a villain, because he tells Cap the story of Nick Fury when, a long time ago, when Nick Fury was told to hold tight while they did negotiations for a terrorist hostage situation. And it turned out that they weren't interested in negotiating, but when they went down to murder all the hostages, they were already gone. Why? Because Nick Fury got tired of waiting and decided to do the right thing without any concern with what his superiors believed. And so he uses that against Fury at the end of the movie, right? Like, this is the reason we created Insight, because sometimes you need to do the right thing before the bad thing happens. And it's dangerous for sure, but I mean, like, honestly, like, it's the baby Hitler paradox, right?
But even so, funny enough with the Nazi stuff, I mean, the reveal here is like they're all Hydra, right?
Yeah.
And Hydra.
But Hydra and Shield are basically one and the same.
They're one and the same. Hydra shifted their focus right after what happened during World War II, and they
learned their lesson. Yeah.
They took their time. They let people, willingly
give their freedom to them.
Give their freedoms to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a really neat, I don't say trick, but a really neat element that they pull in that regard, especially with Arnim Zola coming back too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of those movies where like this movie is very grounded, like one of the most grounded MCU movies probably outside of Iron Man 1.
I would say it's more grounded than Iron Man 1, honestly.
But no, I mean, but yet we have AI computer, Arnim Zola, multiple fights over DC. Like, it weaves in like the MCU elements and the Captain America specific elements so elegantly that you just kind of like, you're just there for the ride. You're in awe. Like, it's like the dreams fulfilled. Right? We are seeing a Captain America story, truly play out on screen.
I did not watch this movie in the optimal conditions. I actually started watching it yesterday, and then I kind of would watch it in little bursts, right? Like, I would, whenever I had a moment, I would watch a scene or two scenes or something like that. And what I thought was really cool is I was still having a blast, because like every scene in that movie is its own beautiful little story. Do you know what I mean? Like the introduction to Sam Wilson at the beginning of this movie is top tier, brand new character introduction.
And that nugget stays with
it pays off in spades. It just keeps paying off. But like, like you watch some of these movies and you're like, okay, so you're Riri Williams and I'm supposed to care about you because, and sometimes it feels forced, right? When you have to meet a new character that you're like, oh, they're going to be a thing. Cassie, okay, cool. You're Cassie, like you're the new actress.
Well, I think the strength there was they let Sam be a hero before he gets the wings in this movie.
Yes.
And the wings are just like the sauce, right? They're like,
they're the Marvel sauce.
I can get my gear. It's like, I thought you were a paratrooper. And he's like, no,
a parajumper.
Yeah. And then he has the wings, but then you're like, oh, you don't even think about like what
it just goes so smooth. It's so fast, right? You're like, oh, we've reached the superhero part of this movie. You know what I mean? But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could strip away some of the superhero stuff of this movie and it's still a damn good movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes it so strong. But yeah, I fell in love with Sam so fast. We all did, right? Because that on your left joke just keeps hitting like over and over again. And yeah, it was just a really great introduction. But then the next scene, right? Like, because then Natasha shows up at the end of the Sam scene. It's like, we gotta go, got a mission. And then the next scene is the mission, the stealth suit, right? The covert op with the strike team, and they're gonna go and raid the Lemurian Star and get rid of the terrorists, and you're just watching Captain America just be the full-on super soldier
Kick
and
ass.
murder people. Those guys died, right? Like a lot of them died. Like they got kicked like a mule, man, like across like the boat or off the boat and stuff. Like it's crazy watching him do that, and they make it very clear they're bad guys. They have guns, they're gonna kill hostages. You don't have to worry
He
about the
does this so
moral.
like effortlessly, like
Yeah,
and even I mean we even get I forget like Batroc the Leapers in this movie, right?
it's a cool scene.
That's a cool scene. It's a perfect moment for a character of that scale or scope, right? And and even then, it's almost like Cap's like playing with his food.
Yeah, but then you also in that sequence you get the kind of the reverse save the cat moment with Black Widow, right? Where yeah, she's taking out bad guys and stuff too, but when the team needs her, they can't find her, and then Cap finds her. And what's she doing? She's being a freaking spy. She's doing spy shit, and she's not doing what's best for the team. She's doing what's best for Nick, right? And so you see it again. You see her allegiances make Steve question if he can trust her. And I think that's really cool, considering that he feels that way about her, even though they just saved the whole world, like a year ago or whatever, from an alien invasion. He still doesn't know if he can trust this woman. She's his coworker, but like he wants more. He wants to be her friend, but like he can't trust her, and he's starting to feel that way about the entire job, because like, okay,
Every turn he's getting like the Sharon reveal, right? Like when she busts into the apartment, it's like, oh, dude, you're Shield too.
Yeah. Oh, and my place has been bugged this whole time. Like it's rough. It's rough for him, but he wants to believe in the goodness of people. So he still trusts. He still lets himself trust Natasha. He still lets himself trust Nick Fury. He still lets himself trust Sharon after she shows up and calls an EMT for Nick, and he's like, all right, I think he's in good hands. I'm gonna go chase the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Like, these are all decisions Steve's making because he has a really good moral compass, and he does believe that these people will, when they're in the thick of it, they will make the right choice. And what's really cool is, like, by the end of the movie, all of the people that he did decide to put his faith in, even though he didn't necessarily trust them, they did, like, and so you get to see, it's a nice little epilogue you get with Sharon, where like, she's decided to move on and keep doing good and be CIA, like, Maria's gonna work for Stark. That never plays out ever again, right? We never see that. And Nick's gonna go hunt down Hydra and all these different things, and they're all people that are better off for knowing Captain America. And I think that's that's like what you want out of a superhero movie, right? You want everybody to be bettered by his presence. And I think the ultimate payoff is, Bucky in the post-credits scene going to check out the Smithsonian and find out, like,
who
he is and who Steve was to him and stuff. And it's just beautiful. Like, it's from beginning to end, like, the action is so grounded, right? It's like, I guess they tried to do practical effects as much as they possibly could.
Like, there's so many, like the Nick Fury car scene,
oh my god,
the freeway fights.
I will say
the boat fight.
The Nick Fury car scene is probably why I kept watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for way longer than I needed to, because I kept thinking, like, maybe it'll be this good, maybe one day it'll be this good. That scene is so good, and S.H.I.E.L.D. never fulfills the promise that scene did, you know. So which one are you saying? Which the other one?
Oh, I mean the opening boat scene, the knife fight scene on the
The
freeway.
freeway. Oh my god, the freeway scene. Yeah, so good. I'm trying to remember the other ones, like the.
I mean, even Steve, when Fury gets shot and he's running through the buildings, like,
Oh yeah, he's running through the office building and he's
yeah, and
just
he's like
destroying walls
wrecking
and
everything.
doors and
Like,
stuff. Yeah, it's cool. And Bucky also was a really cool threat that was just kind of like slowly like revealed through
he was
that
the
movie.
Terminator, right? Like he was full Terminator mode for that movie until the reveal happens, right?
Yeah. And I think it's so cool that guy was so down to be so few lines in that movie, right? He barely talks. He talks more in his flashback than he does in the whole movie. Like, but I think he was just. I think the thing I like. Yeah, I was talking about it with Lindsay earlier. Like, I just really appreciate how much Sebastian Stan is like ride or die for this MCU, right? Like because he like if you see interviews with him, he is always down to come back because he credits this entire experience for all the other successes he's had. You know what I mean? Like he believes that all the roles he's been offered are because of the doors that have been opened, like playing the Winter Soldier. And I think it's so cool. I mean, he has an Oscar, right? Like this.
He was nominated for the Trump movie.
Wait, I thought he won an Oscar for the other movie.
A Better Man?
Yeah.
I don't think he. Let's see. Vamp. He does not have an Oscar. Oh wait, he has a Golden Globe.
That's thanks. You're right. He's got a Golden Globe. That's
for A Better Man.
For A Better Man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I mean, he's a great actor, right? Pam and Tommy, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, The Apprentice. So many cool things that he does. But he just keeps coming back to this role, and I think it was really fun to see the beginning of this character. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, my wife was joking about how like the Winter Soldier is basically the other character that people goon over besides Loki, right? Like Loki. Let's be honest. Loki's a thirst trap, right?
Count for the shows like already too high.
Loki's a thirst trap, though, right? Like he is, and so Bucky, he checks all the same boxes that Loki does, minus the wit, right? Like, you know, but he just gets to play a brooding character in dark leather and makeup and long hair and just have women thirst after him all the time and stuff. And I think it's a sweet gig to keep coming back to. You know, it's pretty funny. Long hair, except in Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? He got a haircut for that one.
And in Endgame, Infinity War, he's short hair.
Oh, does he? Okay, gotcha. I couldn't remember the other ones. But anyways, were you sad seeing Maria Hill and being like, "Oh, I remember when you had so much potential"?
They definitely like she
saved the day in this movie, right? Like they were caught. They were about to be executed, and then Maria Hill saved them.
There's another world where the MCU is S.H.I.E.L.D. is now led by Maria Hill, or a form of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I mean, they kind of fulfill the prophecy, or they fulfill that promise in Ultron, right at the end when everyone comes saves the day, right, with the helicarriers.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they really dropped the ball with it.
I mean, the other way of looking at it is like, you know, because I remember you said this about Iron Man 3. You were kind of bummed that like they burned AIM so fast, right? But all of these big giant like things that exist in the Marvel comics for decades and like they all kind of get one and done most of the time in these movies, right? Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one that lasts the longest, but this effectively kills Shield, right? Like this
Yeah.
movie, like yeah. So I guess I can't be super mad. Like
In a weird way, though, it sets up like a independently operating Avengers, right? And
yeah,
it even further sets up like why the events of Infinity War happened. You know, when there was that like collective global protection,
right,
right?
right. The Global Security Council didn't really matter after this movie, right? Because we're like, we don't need you, which
Just
is
like
kind of
just like that TV show didn't matter after this movie.
well, actually, I would say the opposite. The TV show was amazing the week after this movie came out
The week.
because they continued
Yeah.
the Hail Hydra storyline, like, and they showed you clips of the helicarriers crashing into the Triskelion, like, and the Triskelion was in the show right before this movie came out. So the show fulfilled the promise that we had wanted, like, more than ever in the weeks that followed the release of this movie. Like, the show, I think, was like a Tuesday night show or whatever, like maybe
Mhm.
Wednesday, Thursday night, I don't remember. So like 4 or 5 days after this movie came out, we were watching the spoilers of this movie on the TV show, and it was mind-blowing because I'm like, whoa, I didn't know they'd have the balls to do that, you know what I mean? And then the events that played out in the rest of the season were okay. It was basically just the remaining Shield guys trying to take down Hydra within their own, team and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
whatever. And then everything after that was just terrible, 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 terrible. But the problem is, like, everything before that Shield moment was also terrible because that's what they were waiting for. The writers were basically admitted that they were just kind of writing filler episodes to get to this moment. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's why they have the dumb episode where they're going after Thor: The Dark World to clean up the alien, ship on in London or whatever, or Greenwich or whatever it was, yeah. Agents of Shield and Jasper Sitwell was a character that jumped back and forth between the movies and the show. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
in more than he was in this movie, but he was also in some of the direct to DVD
He's in a lot of the
stories,
one
right?
shots.
With a one shot with Coulson, right? He does a one
Mhm.
shot with Coulson. Yeah, so he's back and forth. So this was the most the connective tissue ever existed between TV and movie, and then it just they go in two separate directions after this moment, because the beginning of the next Avengers movie is like, well, we finished Hydra, they're all done. You know what I mean? Like,
Then we got the last one.
yeah, that was the last one, and that's it. So that's kind of, I guess credit to Hydra for lasting 3 movies, I guess, right? Like, we got to see them
Yeah.
in 2 Captain Americas, and then for the first 15 minutes of an Avengers movie, and that's it. So yeah. Is there anything else that you like specifically was like a blast for you to watch seeing this movie? Like, again?
Other than what we have talked about, I like that they put him back in the original suit. That first Avenger suit's a near perfect costume.
It's quite good.
And they made it slightly better in this movie. It is a different suit.
It fits a little better, right?
The striping paneling is a little bit different. And it's like chef's kiss. It is like the best Captain America suit ever.
The Winter Soldier looks really good too.
Yeah, I mean that's a Winter Soldier as Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it's really good. I think those two looked so good that I was easily able to forgive the Falcon for not having like the red and white suit. You know what I mean? Because
it took a minute to get that.
It took a long time to get him into some red, and white. But yeah, no, it's the other one, the other character that that goes unmentioned and too much. The guy who will become Crossbones.
Frank Grillo.
Yeah, I forget. Brock Rumlow is his character's name in the. That guy goes hard through this whole movie, man. He's excellent. Like, I love the scene where he's got the gun to the technician's head and he's trying to get him to like launch the ships, and then it ends up being this crazy face off like with Sharon and all the shield agents versus all the Hydra agents in the same room together. And I mean, that guy's got a gun to his head and somehow he backs down and then still turns it into a giant gunfight and survives, launches the things. Like, he's like, man, he's a hardcore henchman through the whole movie.
Mhm.
I love him like in every scene, but obviously the best scene that we did not mention is the elevator scene.
The
That
elevator scene.
that elevator scene goes
So
real
nice,
hard.
they did it twice. They did
They
Endgame.
They did it in Endgame too, didn't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, man. It's so good. I love it. Yeah, this movie really put a giant check mark on the Russo brothers for me. Like, they just nailed it right out of the gate, and this movie is why they just kept getting more and more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean, they parlayed this into Civil War, and then Civil War into the biggest movies of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, it's the monkey's paw, right? Because they haven't done shit outside of the Avengers that's
successful,
notable or successful.
Yeah.
And they've tried.
Well, I know they've tried. It's really sad.
But I have zero doubts that they will succeed with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Just, it's like they understand it, right?
Yeah. Just curious, like, did this movie do a better job than Thor or Iron Man 3 of keeping you entertained enough to not ask where are the rest of the Avengers?
Yes, because I think this movie has probably one of the strongest supporting casts of people. He is there's named characters in the sense that they're comic book characters around him, and they're all comparable to the task at hand, right?
It's a team up movie. He got to team up with Black Widow for the whole movie, but then he also grabbed another new friend along the way.
Whereas Iron Man 3, I think it's a team up movie because it's him and Rhodey for the back half, but Rhodey's not in the suit for most of that movie.
Yeah, he's not in most of that movie, honestly. Yeah, Rhodey's not there for a lot of it. Yeah, and then Thor, like, I know Frank was kind of talking about that last week, because it's kind of like you have an alien attack on Greenwich, and somehow no one else shows up to respond to that, like, so I was just curious, like, what is it about this one that didn't, like, basically Steve and Natasha, two Avengers who saved the world, became fugitives. They were probably on the news.
More Avengers than were in Iron Man 3 and Thor.
Was that? Oh, more Avengers were in this than Yeah, fair. By one more. Like, there was one.
Nick Fury in there. He's
fair. Nick Fury died, and none of the Avengers showed up.
Right.
No Avengers showed up after Nick Fury died. I'm only playing devil's advocate. I love this movie.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's kind of weird, but something about the pacing of this movie just keeps you holding on to the edge of your seat, so you don't bother to even ask the
only
question.
thing that's probably remotely weird is probably Hawkeye not being in this movie.
Okay.
He is still an employee of that company.
Of Shield, yeah. Yeah. I would agree. But we kind of learn what Hawkeye's been doing.
Yeah, we learn what he does, but
yeah.
At the time.
But yeah. No, I was just curious. It was like, if there is a nitpick to throw out there, that was the one, right? Which is like, how come this movie doesn't get crap for,
because Hawkeye in the comics, Hawkeye's not a Shield agent, is he? Or it kind of flows.
In the comics, Hawkeye started as a criminal and then became an Avenger.
Okay.
But I think technically most of the Avengers are at some point
Shield
employees
people.
of Shield, kind of, like at least the ones that don't wear spandex are, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that would be the one weird outlier for me, for sure.
Yeah,
But
I
don't think the movie's strong enough on its own to where you don't have time to ask those questions, to your point.
I definitely caught myself saying, like, where's Hawkeye in all this? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. But still it's kind of weird. Yeah. I was just curious, like, because I think the other movies have all done a job of like showing you where they are. Like everybody, like even at the end of Iron Man 3, we're like, oh, he's telling Bruce this story the entire time. Okay. So those guys are hanging out together in that movie, and then Thor's just doing his own weird space thing. And then like this one takes care of Cap and Natasha. But yeah, at some point you're like, where's Hawkeye? That's kind of, but it's cool. It's fine. I forgot that this movie released after Sony had famously made the deal with Marvel. Right. So I think they do mention something like Sitwell mentions like characters crawling on walls.
You mentioned Doctor Strange.
You mentioned Doctor Strange and crawling on walls.
Doctor Strange was a big moment for sure.
Yeah.
Or you don't think it's like this
Stephen Strange. Doctor Stephen Strange or something like that. Yeah. Or Stephen Strange. Yeah. So like it was at this point we had already known that Spider-Man would be playing at some point down the line, right? Yeah. It would be like 3 years later, I think, something like that. Yeah. Ooh. So that was just getting us all hyped up. Like just every little nugget.
That was just seasoning.
Yeah. Every nugget was just like amazing. I remember back in the day pausing the Blu-ray when Insight is doing its thing to like see any names I could find, you know what I mean? That would seem cool. You only ever see the Tony Stark one, if I remember correctly. Like that's on the list. But yeah, no, it's so fun. And at the end of the day, it's a movie about government oversight and the dangers of it, and that's really.
Yeah, we get to live it right now.
What's up?
We get to live it right now. So
yeah, we do get to live it. It's pretty crazy. By the way, did you notice? Oh, you didn't notice because you've never watched Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I know about the Tombstone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know about Tombstone.
All right, Ezekiel 25:17. Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
But even that moment where like they're going to that montage and they're playing the Trouble Man soundtrack, which is referenced by Sam, and like you just need to listen to that soundtrack. Like perfect, almost near perfect bookend for that movie.
Also, when Cap goes into his apartment after Sharon lets him know, I think he left your stereo on. Did you notice the song that's playing? It's the song that he dances with.
Oh, the Peggy song. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. There's a lot of throwbacks to this movie. Endgame does a lot of payoffs for this movie, so it was just really fun to rewatch this one, knowing that I've seen Endgame and all the things that Cap becomes. Honestly, Cap changes the least through all of these movies, right? Like, from this moment on, this is who Captain America is, and he never wavers.
Never wavers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, I got nothing else. If you got something, add it. But otherwise, I'm gonna go play some Expedition 33 in a little bit.
This is a pretty cool movie, a really good movie. And
top 5? Is it a top 5 movie?
Yeah, it's a top 5 MC movie.
Yeah, this is will always be on my top 5. Probably in my top 3.
Are we Ooga Chaka next week?
Yeah, we're doing one of the other top 5 movies next week. It was a
Guardians of the Galaxy is what we'll be talking about next Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen.
The Russos and Gunn, they do it best, right? They do it best.
Sounds like a law firm.
Yeah, it does sound like a law firm. Yeah. All right, I'm down.
Until then, true believers. Enough said.